Okay, well, I'd like to welcome everyone to this webinar. We are Athena Wireless. My name is Dylan Martin. I'm a sales rep for Athena. Okay, it's just lagging a little bit. So who we are, we're in the telecommunications market, obviously, and what we do is we make all digital point-to-point wireless radios. And there's a number of points that really set us apart from other radios that are out there, and even from leased lines and fiber optic cable. And we'll get into that as the presentation goes on. But a few of the things that really make us stand out right here, one is the high bandwidth of our units. Our units are true full duplex gigabit, so we're talking a gig of data in each direction simultaneously. Our customers really like about our product is how easy it is to install. And also the price point is another huge thing that gives us an edge over a lot of other technologies out there. Fiber, as I'm sure most of you know, very expensive to implement. The labor, and not only that, but you've got to get all the proper permits to trench it through the municipality or whoever owns the land where you're running it. So our radio really is a nice alternative because you don't have to pay for all those labor costs. It's a one-time installation fee, and then you can forget about it. Then it's done. So let me move on here. As far as our support is concerned, and I'm sorry, feel free, guys, if any of you have any questions at any time, feel free to stop me. But our support, you know, we're the kind of company that we really like to work closely with our partners by providing training as needed. And we do offer warranties, standard one-year warranties with all of our equipment. And the one-year warranty, that's standard, that includes support, tech support through phone and email. And we also offer multi-year warranties, 2- and 3-year packages, as well as a next-day replacement option, which would mean that if there was an issue with a link and it went down, we would be able to overnight ship a link to you, so the downtime would be minimal. So we do have those options available. As far as the applications are concerned, there's many. The possibilities are pretty endless. Wireless backhaul is a huge field. There are a lot of service providers that are in dense cities. You know, we think about San Francisco, New York, LA. It's not practical to put up large cell towers or, you know, antennas in those areas because it's so dense. So our technology then is a great application because it's so small, it fits in small places, and it provides gigabit throughput. So you're getting fiber-like speeds without the hassle of implementing fiber in a large city. Campus connectivity, this is a huge one. It's very simple. Simple point-to-point building connection. We have some customers that connect their office building with a manufacturing plant or other facilities that are in close proximity in a campus. It's great for that. It's very simple, can be up in a matter of hours, and you've got a gigabit connection between your buildings. So another very common use. Metro Ethernet, we do see this a lot too. Some of our customers have a Metro Ethernet infrastructure in cities, and they use our radio as a backhaul between their cells. Network redundancy. This is another area where we've seen a lot of use. We have customers that, let's say they have fiber already between two of their buildings, but let's say they want to have a redundant link. Well, you can throw up a pair of our radios, and you've got a viable replacement for fiber while still providing that same speed. And another one here that I want to highlight, and this is something that's really gaining a lot of steam in the industry, is DAS, distributed antenna systems. Typically, the backhaul for a DAS system is done with fiber. That's typically how it's been done, but our radio can also work in those kind of environments. It can eliminate the need for trenching fiber, and that signal can be backhauled back to a central base station through our radio, through our 60 and 80 gigahertz radios. So that's another nice feature, nice application for it. Move on here. Sorry, I think my computer is lagging a little bit. There we go. So these are just a few pictures of some deployments we've done. The one on top where there's two links, two radios, those are our 60 gigahertz radios. That was a deployment in San Jose where a customer had two pairs of radios. They had a redundant link, a failover link, so if one stopped working, the other would take over. So you guys really see how small it is, how close they are together on the pole. And that's a nice thing to have because it lets you fit more radios in close proximity, and that's because our beam width is only 2 degrees. So it's a very narrow beam. It's not like a 2.4 or a 5.8 radio where they've got a 30 to 40 degree beam. It's only 2 degrees, so you can put a lot of radios close together without worrying about interference. The picture on the right, that was in New York City. That was a simple point-to-point, building-to-building connection there. And the picture on the bottom is a link that we did down in New Orleans. And that thing next to it on the right is a fluorescent light. So that, again, kind of gives you a perspective in regards to the size of the radio and how small it is and how easily it can go into those kinds of spaces. So that's all that I have for this presentation. Is there any questions, any thing that needed to be repeated, or any comments or observations from anyone?
Okay, I got a couple questions here.
Sure.
Let me get this off here so I can read them. Is licensing required, and what are the first two questions? One is, what is license required?
For the 60, no. For the 80, yes.
Okay, and then on the licensing stuff, what's the cost and the time for that? Do you know?
Yes, it's a two-step process to register an 80 gigahertz link. The first step is to get a license, a non-exclusive nationwide license to use that spectrum. So any entity or company that wants to use a licensed band has to register and apply with the FCC, and that's about $1,500 to get that one-time registration. And then once you've done that and you've got that certification, then you can register individual point-to-point links. And the cost per link is about $250. That was the last figure that I heard. And that is a license. When you register a link, you get a license for that link. And that license is valid for 10 years. And then after that time, it can be renewed as many times as it's needed.
Okay, and then on the photo that you had where the radios were stacked on there, what is how far do they have to be apart for separation? I know you said it had 2 degree beam width, but how far does the separation need to be?
We recommend at least 14 inches of separation. It is also good practice to, well, there's several things you can do. You can cross-polarize, or you can, which is, and this is really what we recommend, or you can place, for example, if you had, let's say you had a redundant, two links, two radios on a pole, you would want to have an A terminal on a pole, and then under it you would want to have a B terminal, because our radios come in pairs, A's, and each link has an A terminal and a B terminal, and they transmit and receive on different frequencies. So you would want to have an A terminal on one pole, and then under it you would want to have your B terminal, and then you would do the same thing on the other side. That's going to eliminate the chance of interference by using opposite terminals on the same pole.
Okay. Then also you mentioned on the size, the small factor. What is the actual dimensions of it?
The actual dimensions of our 60, it's 7 inches by 7 inches by 3 inches. So that's its dimensions, and it weighs 5.5 pounds.
Are these subject to rain fade?
They are. The 60 is subject to it somewhat. However, the 80 gigahertz is affected a little more severely by that. We do have the availability information for what distances you need to achieve 5 nines, because obviously in different parts of the country, there's different rainfall rates depending on where you are. So we have taken that into consideration, and we have charts and graphs showing the rainfall rates in different parts of the world, and taking into account rain fade, we have calculated the distance that links can be at and still achieve 5 nines of availability.
Okay, and that kind of leads into the next question here is, for example, on those 3 that you showed there on the pictures, what are the actual distances and what are the speeds they're seeing across it?
Okay, typically the distance for the maximum distance is up to 1 kilometer. We have had links that have gone 1 kilometer, so that translates to about 3/5 of a mile, to put it in perspective, and the speeds are true full duplex gigabit. As long as it's up to 1 kilometer, you're still going to get gigabit speeds. So all those links that I just showed you, they were all functioning at gigabit, at full duplex gigabit.
Okay, and then do you guys have a backup or a failover type thing?
You mean like a separate port or interface?
Right.
No, we do not. We have on the back of our radio, we have a Cat5e pigtail, is what we call it. And what that does is that is a PoE plus interface, which plugs into a PoE injector. And then from that injector, you take an Ethernet cable, any Ethernet cable, and put that into your switch or into your network. So there is one interface. However, you can set up in a network. You could set up 2 links and have one be redundant, or you could, if you had fiber or if you had another transmission medium, you could use our links in a failover role as a redundant link.
Okay. Now, for the fiber, is there a direct fiber interface, or do you have to convert it before?
Yeah. No, there is no fiber interface. It is possible to convert the fiber to copper, but there is no fiber interface. The only interface that we have is the PoE plus Ethernet interface. So there's no DC power cable involved, and there's no fiber interface.
Okay. Looks like all the questions so far on this. Anyone else have any other questions out there? Okay, I don't see any of that. Dylan, can we also get a copy of that, the actual rain fade margin chart you were talking about?
Yes, yeah.
in the distance?
Yeah, we sure can. I can get that over to you in an email,
Perfect.
and then you can distribute that to whoever wants it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Okay, if there's any other questions, not any more questions, what you guys can do is you can email your Microcom sales reps any questions you have, or you can also send an email to sales@microcomtech.com, and we'll get a copy of that for you. And as well as this presentation is actually going to be up on our YouTube site, hopefully by tomorrow. We'll get that up there for you. And if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to contact your rep. Other than that, have a great day. Dylan, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for
Thank you,
giving
guys.
us more information on Athena.
Yep.